You know what should be doing. You've known for weeks, maybe months, but you're still sitting there, staring at the ceiling, waiting for some divine intervention to rearrange the pieces of your life into perfect order. Or maybe just blow it all up so you don't have to choose. That's decision paralysis. And if you think you're alone in this, you're not. Every single person who's ever tried to build something meaningful has felt this weight. The suffocating pressure of knowing you need to move but having no idea which direction won't destroy everything you've worked for. Here's the thing nobody tells you about paralysis. It's not laziness. It's not weakness. It's your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do, protect you from potential threats. Except now, in our modern world, those threats aren't lions or rival tribes. They're the possibility of looking stupid on LinkedIn, of disappointing your parents, of discovering you're not as capable as you thought. And so you freeze. You research endlessly. You make pros and cons lists that spiral into philosophical manifestos. You ask for advice from 17 different people and get 18 different answers. I'm going to give you 10 intellectual razors today. Think of them as sharp tools for cutting through the noise. Mental frameworks that help you separate useful action from useless spinning. Will they solve every flavor of paralysis you'll ever face? No. Some battles you'll still have to fight the hard way. But these will push you forward when you're stuck. They'll help you see the choice that's been hiding in plain sight. Consider this an experiment, a collection of techniques that have helped thousands of people unstick themselves from the mud of indecision. Let's start with the first one, the happiness razor. Picture this. It's Friday evening. You're standing at a crossroads. Option 1, stay home, order takeout, binge another season of that show everyone's talking about. You know exactly what you're getting. Comfort, safety, zero risk. Option 2, go to that industry meetup downtown, or that creative workshop, or that volunteer thing your friend mentioned. You don't really know anyone there. Your brain is screaming at you to stay home. It's promising you a cozy night, no awkward small talk, no pretending to remember names. But here's what the happiness razor says: choose the path with the larger field of potential happiness. At home on your couch, the chance that something life-changing happens is effectively zero. You already know the outcome. It's predictable, it's safe, but it's also static. Going out, stepping into new rooms, meeting new people, you're giving luck infinitely more opportunities to find you. This isn't manifestation or magical thinking. It's pure statistics. You're increasing your surface area for serendipity. Think of it like fishing. You can cast one line from the shore and hope something bites. Or you can take the boat out, drop multiple lines, cover more water, which gives you better odds of catching something significant. And here's the deeper layer. By doing interesting things, by constantly engaging with new ideas and people, you're not just increasing your chances of lucky breaks. You're making yourself more ready to receive them when they come. When someone offers you an opportunity, you'll actually be prepared to say yes. You'll have the skills, the mindset, the courage. The person who stays home every Friday convinces themselves they're recharging. But really, they're training themselves to stay small. The happiness razor isn't about toxic positivity or pretending every choice is easy. It's about recognizing that growth lies outside your comfort zone, every single time. And if you want a life you're genuinely excited about, you need to consistently choose the option that keeps you in the game. Now, let's talk about the second razor, the Feynman Method. Your manager presents a new strategy in the Monday morning meeting. They're using words like synergy and paradigm shift and leverage our blockchain-enabled ecosystem. Everyone's nodding. It sounds smart, sophisticated. You don't want to be the person who doesn't get it, so you nod too. But something feels off. You can't quite put your finger on it. Here's where Richard Feynman, the Nobel Prize-winning physicist, comes in clutch. His method is brutal in its simplicity. If you can't explain something in plain language, the kind of language you'd use with a 7-year-old, you don't actually understand it. Period. End of story. All that complicated jargon? Often it's just smoke covering up a lack of real substance. Or worse, it's someone trying to sound smart while proposing something fundamentally empty. This doesn't just apply to corporate meetings. It applies to your own thinking. How many times have you convinced yourself you understand something because you can repeat the fancy words? But when you actually try to explain it simply, you realize you're just parroting terminology. Here's a practical example. Let's say you're thinking about investing some savings in crypto or trading platforms. Everyone's talking about it. There are entire YouTube channels dedicated to it. The terminology is thick: liquidity pools, staking yields, DeFi protocols. Ask yourself, can I explain this to a child? Not just the buzzwords, but the actual mechanism of how it works, where the money comes from, what the real risks are. If you can't do that, you have two options. Either dive deeper until you genuinely understand it, or walk away. Those are your only responsible choices. The Feynman Method is the best bullshit detector I've ever encountered. It works in business, in relationships, in self-development. Anytime someone, or your own brain, is hiding behind complexity, simplify it. Strip it down. If the idea can't survive in plain language, it probably doesn't deserve your time or money. The third principle, the optimist criterion. The third principle, the optimist criterion. You're thinking about starting a business. Maybe it's a side hustle. Maybe it's the full leap. You have an idea that won't leave you alone, but you also have fears. Totally reasonable fears. So you go to two friends for advice. Friend number one says, dude, don't. 90% of businesses fail in the first year. The market's oversaturated. You'll drown in admin work and taxes. You have a stable job with benefits. Don't throw that away. Sounds logical, right? Rational. Responsible even. Friend number two says, this is exactly what you're good at. Even if it doesn't work out perfectly, you'll learn so much that any company would be thrilled to hire you. And if it does work, you'll never look back. Who do you listen to? When you're at a crossroads, when you're deciding whether to make a change, surround yourself with optimists. Not because pessimists are wrong. They're often right about the risks. But here's the thing, pessimists, no matter how intelligent they sound, will always show you the closed doors. Optimists show you the doors that are at least cracked open. Research by psychologist Martin Seligman shows that optimists aren't naive. They see the same obstacles. They just interpret setbacks differently. To them, failure isn't a verdict, it's feedback. It's data. It's a redirection, not a dead end. Pessimists often do nothing. They're right about the risks, sure, but they're also stuck. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather be wrong while moving forward than right while standing still. So when you're facing a big decision, audit your circle. Who's in your ear? Who's shaping your internal narrative? If it's mostly people who've never taken a meaningful risk, people who default to that won't work, you need to rebalance. Find the people who believe change is possible, not because they're delusional, but because they've done hard things and survived. Pessimism feels like wisdom, but often it's just fear wearing a smart suit. Let's move to the fourth razor, the three-person criterion. Imagine you're considering a job offer in another city. Better pay, bigger role, more prestige. But you'd be far from family, far from your best friends. Who's making this decision? Just you, right? Just the person sitting here reading this. Wrong. There are at least three people inside you right now, and they all get a vote. The first is present you, the one paying bills, dealing with your current reality, managing immediate stress. Present you is practical, focused on survival and stability. The second person is future you, the 70 or 80-year-old version sitting in a chair somewhere, looking back on your life. That version of you isn't worried about this month's rent. They're asking bigger questions. Did I live a life I'm proud of? Did I take the chances that mattered? Did I play it too safe? The third person is the kid inside you, the teenager who had wild dreams before adult responsibilities caged them. Before you learn to be realistic, that kid still exists. They still have opinions. They still want adventure, creativity, freedom. Now hold a meeting with all three. What does present you say about this move? Probably something about logistics, about the risk of uprooting your life. Fair. What does that 80-year-old say? Maybe they're proud you took a swing for growth. Or maybe they regret losing touch with the people who mattered most. Both are valid. And the kid? That kid might be jumping up and down at the thought of a new city. Or maybe they're scared. Maybe they remember what it felt like when you stopped pursuing art or music or writing because it wasn't practical. A good decision isn't one that satisfies just one of these voices. It's one that respects all three. It honors the need for security, the hunger for growth, and the longing for meaning. Most of us only listen to present you. We optimize for right now. And then we wake up at 50 wondering where our dreams went. Visit that kid inside you more often. Ask them what they need. You might be shocked by what they say. The fifth razor, the growth razor. You're choosing between two projects at work. In Project A, you're the expert. You know this space inside and out. You'll be the smartest person in every meeting. Your ego will be well fed. In Project B, you're the newbie. You'll have to ask basic questions. Admit what you don't know. Learn from people who've been there half as long as you. Your ego will take a beating. Which room do you choose? Always, and I mean always, choose the room where you'll be challenged the most. Because that's the only room where you'll grow. Being the expert is the most comfortable trap in the world. It feels amazing. People defer to you. You get validation, but it kills curiosity. It leads to stagnation. And in some cases, it breeds arrogance. If you stopped growing, it's probably because you've been sitting in the same room too long. The room where you already have all the answers. The room where you're not pushed. Where you're not uncomfortable. Risk the awkwardness. Choose the project where you'll stumble. That's the only way forward. 6th, Occam's razor. Your partner has been distant for a few days. Quiet. Distracted. Your mind immediately spirals. They're cheating. They don't love me anymore. They're planning to leave. This requires an entire web of assumptions, all of which need evidence you don't have. Occam's razor says, the simplest explanation is usually the right one. What's the simplest explanation? They're stressed at work. They're exhausted. They're dealing with something in their head that has nothing to do with you. That requires only one assumption: they're human and having a rough week. This doesn't mean the simple answer is always correct, but it's the best place to start. It saves you from spiraling into paranoia based on speculation. Instead of creating drama in your head, just ask, hey, I've noticed you've been quiet. Rough week at work? Want to talk about it? Simple, direct, effective. Occam's razor cuts through the noise. It keeps you grounded when your brain wants to catastrophize. Use it liberally. The 7th technique, the stadium effect. Every bold decision you make, starting a YouTube channel, writing a book, changing careers, is like walking onto a massive stadium field. You're alone under the lights, and up in the stands, there's a faceless crowd, and they're loud. You're not good enough. Who gave you permission? You're going to fail. You're embarrassing yourself. It's so much easier to sit in the stands and criticize, to throw stones, to mock the people actually trying. Going out onto that field is terrifying, but it's the only place where the real game happens. When you're out there, remember this: don't take advice from the stands, especially not from the people whose only goal is to hurt you. That's not criticism, that's hatred, and hatred has no useful information for you. Seek feedback from other players, from people who are also on the field, also risking, also getting bruised. Their advice is gold. Everyone else is just noise. The 8th criterion, the stupidity razor, also known as Hanlon's razor. A coworker didn't send you a report on time, and now you're in trouble. Your immediate thought: they did this on purpose. They're trying to undermine me. Hold on. Apply Hanlon's razor. Never attribute to malice what can be adequately explained by incompetence. Maybe they're just disorganized. Maybe they forgot. Maybe they're overwhelmed. Assuming evil intent is like drinking poison and expecting it to hurt someone else. It closes off any possibility of dialogue. Assuming incompetence or oversight opens the door to solutions. You can say, hey, I need this report to hit deadlines. How can I help make sure it happens on time next time? That shifts the dynamic from conflict to collaboration. Stop assuming everyone's out to get you. Most of the time, they're just struggling with their own chaos. 9th, the sprint criterion. You have a massive project ahead of you. It's overwhelming. Just thinking about it makes you want to run away. That's because you're thinking of it as a marathon, as something endless that's going to drain you dry. Humans aren't built for endless marathons. We're sprinters. Think about a lion. Most of the day, the lion lounges. Then there's a short, intense burst of action, the hunt, and then back to rest. The Pomodoro technique and similar productivity research confirm this. Break your work into short sprints, 50 minutes of deep focus, then 10 minutes off. Or dedicate one full day to one task, another day to something completely different. Separate your email and calls from your deep work. Segment your day. Between segments, stand up, walk, look out the window. Don't let them bleed together. This rhythm doesn't just prevent burnout. It makes you more creative and effective. Stop trying to run marathons. Start sprinting. You'll go farther, faster, and you won't collapse halfway through. And finally, the 10th criterion, the gratitude criterion. In all this noise about decisions, paralysis, uncertainty, fear, we forget something crucial, something that can propel you forward from an unexpected place. We forget the people standing beside us, cheering for us, your partner who makes you coffee when you're working late, the friend who listens to your doubts for the 100th time without judgment. Research by psychologists like Sarah Algo shows that actively expressing gratitude is one of the most powerful relationship strengtheners, and strong relationships are one of the best motivators for action. So before you make your next big decision, stop, thank someone, not over text, look them in the eye, say, what I'm doing right now would be so much harder without you. Thank you for your support. That person will be with you through every project, every challenge. They'll be rooting for you. And honestly, it's better to overcompliment than to let someone important in your life feel unappreciated. Go ahead, oversweeten it. Who cares? They deserve it. Because at the end of the day, no matter what decision you make, These people will be your greatest allies. They'll be behind your biggest wins, and they'll help you survive your hardest losses. So there you have it. 10 razors. 10 ways to cut through the fog when you're stuck, when you can't see the path forward, when every option feels like a trap. The happiness razor. Choose the path with a bigger field of potential joy. The Feynman Method. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it. The optimist criterion. Surround yourself with people who see open doors. The 3-person criterion. Listen to present you, future you, and the kid you. The growth razor. Always pick the room where you'll be challenged. Occam's razor. Start with the simplest explanation. The stadium effect. Ignore the crowd, listen to the players. Hanlon's razor. Assume incompetence before malice. The sprint criterion. Break your work into short, intense bursts. The gratitude criterion. Thank the people who support you. None of these will make every decision easy, but they'll give you frameworks. They'll help you move when you're frozen. They'll remind you that action, even imperfect action, beats paralysis every single time. Because here's the truth, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to choose wrong sometimes. That's not a failure of character. That's called being human. The only real failure is staying stuck, letting months turn into years while you wait for perfect clarity that's never coming. You don't need perfect information. You need courage. You need tools. And you need to trust that you're capable of handling whatever comes next. So take the first step. Try one of these razors. See what it unlocks. And remember, the life you want is on the other side of the decision you're avoiding. Stop waiting for the meteor to fall. You're the meteor. Now go.